Hey all, welcome to another episode of the Sports Chat BJ Show. This episode, Aiden and I, before we get straight into Aiden, welcome to the show.
Thank you again for having me.
I know it's been a few weeks. Not last episode, Aiden was not on, but he shared, if you do see it very soon, episode of his thoughts of the last two rounds. We're going to do 19-20 in this episode. So let's get on the way with round 19. Aiden and I will share quarter by quarter or best player. Just listen out. Let's get on with game one, round 19. We had the Marble Stadium for those Essendon Bombers, high scoring against those improved surprising LA Crows.
Aiden, time for your thoughts for Game 1 Bombers versus Crows.
Now it's time for Aiden to share Game 1, Essendon and Adelaide. Aiden.
Thank you very much, Ben. So we're going to start Game 1 of round 19 as we always do. We go quarter by quarter. Bombers first quarter, 3 goals, 2. The Crows respond to 3. So Essendon leading by 5 at quarter time. Second quarter, the Crows, big quarter. They go out to 11-4. Bombers get up to 7-5 at the big break. Bombers come out of the half with a chance to respond. They go to 15-8. Crows are only able to add 2 to go to 13-10. And then in the final quarter, it got into a little bit of a slugfest. The Bombers going to 17-11, 113. The Crows, however, 17-13, 115. This is a big win for the Crows. These are the games that are going to set them up for next season. This is the time that they can go, maybe next year is their year. This year they're done. There is no way they are playing finals this year. But next year, they're going to be right on if they play like this every week. As for the Bombers, I think their season's done too. They've fallen from the top 4 out of the 8 in the recent weeks. And this is just another poor performance from them.
BJ, time for your thoughts for Game 1 Bombers versus Crows.
Yep, thank you, Aiden, for your interesting thoughts and as well for these mighty Crows and those Bombers. So, yeah, look, wow. I've got to say, wow. It was I had to tip Adelaide. There was a lot of Adelaide fans were like, this was a show off. We want to get that revenge. We lost against Essendon early in the season, a few rounds ago, or even a bit more than that, back in April, roughly like that. But anyway, moving forward, look, Essendon came out flying, and you want to say at quarter time, they're on. And Essendon, they're on. But it was Adelaide from the second quarter. I was just well done. Accuracy, well done, your best game. But the second half, not as great, but I would take a game like 6 goals, 9 for the second half to Essendon's 10 goals, 4. So we did lose 5 points in the second half overall. So Essendon made 1 the second half, but Josh Trishele, I had a photo with this amazing legend. He has come and set up a game play that it was going to win the game, and it did. Less than about 52 seconds, Essendon had a chance and won that game. I said, no, they won the clearances, easy to Zach Mouter, inside 50s, boom, and then we just gained them 2 behind. So it was a really quick response to Essendon. They're very quick like that. But with Essendon, look, it happens big time. You're in trouble now. You got the lowest percentage in the top 4 for so many weeks. Now you're out of the top 8 because Hawthorn, Western Bulldogs, they want it now more. This is now the time to show up and play your full quarters of football. We'll share those teams later in the episode of these next 2 rounds. But Essendon, just keep trying, heads up, play well next week. Well, now we're done being on Friday night footy in Melbourne at Marble Stadium. We're going to now head on to the plane from Sydney. We're going to go to west of Sydney with the Giants and the Swans.
BJ, time for your thoughts for Game 2 Giants versus Suns.
We've got GWS Giants hosting Gold Coast. Now, let's just break it down. Gold Coast are I'm going to say this one worst team in the AFL for travelling. Now, overall, the only team that like Gold Coast to travel is to go to Perth and Drew. That's a win in itself. But go to Great Western Sydney, and that's a top 8 team. Oh boy, it was a disappointing start, but we'll go quarter quick. 5 goals to Giants, 2 goals to Suns, with the 3 goals to 2, bit better, but it was more poor accuracy for Gold Coast. Then it come to the second half, not much, 2 goals to 0 to Gold Coast not kick one, and 4 goals to 2. So that was overall a 39-point win. You know, it was going to happen or not. Gold Coast have not let that team against them to score 100 plus. They've done that quite recent. And this season, under new coach, you're getting better, but you've got to win those. And when it comes to close to finals, my buys, reset, going in next year, look out Gold Coast. This is the much better look. Gold Coast are in the contest more than just giving up. You know, Gold Coast are not giving up 10. But anyway, we'll just share this player, and I'll show the Sam Flanders, 137 fantasy, 43 disposals with 7 marks, 2 tackles. And we'll go to Tom Green from the Giants, 120 fantasy, 34 disposals with the 7 tackles, which is the 4 marks. Great performance. You guys play well, but great win, Giants. Heads up, Gold Coast play well next week.
Aiden, time for your thoughts for Game 2 Giants versus Suns.
Yeah, I'm really kind of running out of things to say about the Gold Coast myself. Just, how can you be so hot and cold? In the AFL, you have to be able to win away from home to make finals. We're looking at this year, we're saying 14 is safe. You're 11 at home and 12 on the road. That's not going to cut it. 14, you need 14, genuinely. You cannot put up that kind of effort at AFL level where you are constantly behind teams who you could be beating if you're away, but if you're at home, you smash it. My issue with Gold Coast, and it's not just a Damien Hardwick issue, it's a list issue, is that their top end talent is so good they could win a premiership for any of the other teams in the competition, but then the bottom falls out. They have very minimal depth, and this is something I hope they address in the off season, because that'll set them up for next year, so they can get, if we're looking at another 14 win season, that'll set them up well for next year. For GWS, just business as usual for them. The Orange Tsunami came, it hit, Gold Coast couldn't stop it. My top player of the game, Lachie Whitfield from GWS, 145 AFL fantasy, 40 disposals with 21 kicks, 19 handballs, 10 marks and 5 tackles.
Let's get back on the plane from the west of Sydney. Now we're going back to Melbourne. Let's go on the plane right now. We're right back in Melbourne. We're heading to Marble Stadium for the Saints hosting the Eagles. Aiden, I'll share your thoughts. Take it away.
Aiden, time for your thoughts for Game 2 Street Kilda versus WCE.
So this game was all St Kilda. West Coast were really never in it, and I thought they'd do better. Actually, I tipped West Coast for this game. I honestly thought West Coast would do a lot better. We'll go quarter by quarter. St Kilda, 3 goals in the first, to West Coast 2 goals. So I thought, West Coast, we had a chance here, pretty even. And then the rest of the game, St Kilda just run over the top of the road. 7 by half time to 4 for the West Coast. St Kilda 10 at 3/4 time to 5 for West Coast. And then the final quarter, they kicked 7 to go to 17-11, 113. West Coast kicking 1 goal in the final term as well, going to 6-5-41. This was, as I said, disappointing for West Coast. I thought they'd do a lot better. And this is just unacceptable. Just falling back into old patterns. New coach, new start. You've got to be able to reset and go again every week. Now, St Kilda, yes, their season's over, but these are the big wins that build confidence. Same as for Adelaide. These are the big wins that build confidence for teams who are out now, but they can set up for next year. So my top player for the game, I'm going to go with St Kilda's Tim Membry. 154 fantasy points, 5 goals for the game, 23 touches, 18 kicks, 5 handballs, 10 marks and 7 tackles.
BJ, time for your thoughts for Game 3 Street Kilda versus WCE.
Well, yeah. Now, BJ's time. to share his thoughts. And boy, this was a West Coast, not the greats. A big road trip from Perth. They come to Melbourne, and New Health St Kilda want to bounce back from that loss against. Anyway, we'll share that very shortly. Right now, so that loss against Adelaide in that terrible wet condition, I can tell you, not best win for St Kilda. They started well, then they went flat, and you have Adelaide back-to-back wins. Going into against West Coast, look, you knew how good you wanted to win, and you did well. By quarter, it was all St Kilda. You did well, and yeah, now, regardless of my best player, yet to be. Alright, let's get to the next game. We're staying in Melbourne, that's it. We're going from Marble Stadium, and we're going to have a nice exercise ball, and we're going to now go over to the MCG for the Mighty Hawks, the improve against the mighty premiers Collingwood Magpies.
BJ, time for your thoughts for Game 4 Hawthorn versus Collingwood.
They are the happy team at Hawthorn. A big win. 11 goals. 66. Click, 66. That's how much Hawthorn won. Wow. Done. They are coming. If they do not make finals this year, they are back, and there's no Barney Franklin in it. This is a new lineup Hawthorn side, and I'll just do a very briefly quarter by quarter. 3 goals to 1 in the opening quarter, so well done to Hawthorn. Added on to about 4 goals. Collingwood kicked themselves out of the game with 7 behinds. They are not the Premiers. You cannot be, it's now coming that Collingwood will now not make finals. This is what you call a hangover. Geelong went through that. Collingwood are now finally going to go through that. So, when you come to the third quarter, it was a matter of 5 goals to 3 goals. A little bit better, but not enough. But we come to the final quarter, 8 goals to 5. Lots of goals. We all love goals, do we? And it was all but 4 behinds for the whole quarter, but 3 behind for the 4 behinds went to the Hawk, and 1 behind, you apologise, that is the correct behind. So, well done to Hawthorn. You are back. You know how good you are. We can see you have shocked the comp, knowing how good you can play. Collingwood, season's over. Just rebounce. You've got lots of injuries. Even a small or big lot of injuries. Well done on Hawthorn's performance. Tick off, move on. Collingwood, heads up, move on next week. Best on ground I would like to introduce is to the captain, James Sinkley. Mate, well done on your performance. You did very well. Great year so far. This could be amazing just in this season. They're coming in. Hawthorn's is slowly, a very, not a long rebuilding. It was a very short rebuilding, and it was only a couple years. So, but well done to Hawthorn on the win, and well, Collingwood move on next week. Over to you, Aiden. What's your thoughts for the Hawks and the Pies?
Aiden, time for your thoughts for Game 4 Hawthorn versus Collingwood.
If someone had told me at the start of the year that we would be at round 19 and Hawthorn were beating Collingwood by 66 points, I would not have believed you. Collingwood should have just run over the field again like they did last year, and Hawthorn were set to suffer again. But Hawthorn, for some reason, they've turned a corner very sharply and very quickly. And these guys believe in themselves. These guys are having fun when they're playing footy. These guys are going back to the old school footy when they were growing up playing just for fun and having a great time doing it. Now, if that's what keeps them ticking, then good on them. And really, they really could be in the A this year. Out of nowhere, they could be in the A this year. If not, they'll probably be in the A next year. And they are a dangerous team when they get in the A. My best player for the night was the disruptor, Jack Jennifer. Whether you like him or you hate him, you have to admit that boy has talent. And against the Pies, he went 122 fantasy with 2 goals won, 31 touches, 14 kicks, 17 handballs, 5 marks and 5 tackles. Absolutely class from a small forward in modern AFL football.
Now it's time to get back on the plane. We're being in Melbourne for a double header from Marble to the MCG. Now we're going to head to the Adelaide Oval. We have the power hosting the Tigers. Let's get on the plane and let's find out what happens to this game. Aiden, it's time to share. We have made it. Also, in Adelaide Oval, we have arrived. Aiden, it's time for your thoughts. Take it away.
Aiden, time for your thoughts for Game 5 Port Adelaide versus Richmond.
Alright, this was a really good game for the first half, and then Port put the foot down. So first quarter, Port Adelaide 4 goals to Richmond 3 goals. Second quarter, Port Adelaide kicked another 3 goals, and Richmond also kicked another 3 goals. So Port were up by a goal and 2 points, so 8 points at the main break, and then Port decided to put the foot down a bit. 5 goals in the third to Power, 5 goals in the third also to Richmond, so again staying in it, but Power just starting to creep away. And then in the final quarter, 4 goals to the Power and 8 behinds, but we won't worry about that because they won the game comprehensively, with Richmond only managing 1 behind in the final term. I think Port was shocked by this. I was shocked by this, that Richmond were able to hang on in there for about 3 and a bit quarters. And it just shows that Richmond do have the talent and they are a dangerous side still. They just need to be able to finish games off. Port, I know how good they can be. We've seen their highs, we've also seen their lows this year. We don't know what Port shows up on the day, and I think we had the not so good Port in the first half and then the better Port in the second half, which really saved the game for them. I will give my Player of the Game award to Jace Burgoyne with 24 touches, 116 kicks, 8 handballs, 4 marks, 7 tackles and 107 fantasy.
BJ, time for your thoughts for Game 5 Port Adelaide versus Richmond.
Well done to Port Adelaide, but it's back against bad football, but winning those points can win games, and you did it. It's 36 scoring shots to 20. That is 16 scoring shots. That's 20 behinds in overall. Overall 20 points equals 20 scoring shots. So that's almost double for Port Adelaide winning. But Richmond, good effort. Look, I think Richmond, like Aiden mentioned, they'll stay in that contest. They kicked basically for the half of 6 goals and another 5 in the second half. So overall, they lost it quite a bit, but it is what it is. Credit to Port. This is the game they need to get back into the game. This is finals for them if they want to play finals. They've got some good teams coming up. We'll share very soon. There is massive shocks in the competition in the AFL Footy TV. I will share in the awards show at the end of the season. I cannot wait to share the winner of that as well. The AFL Fantasy is a new thing coming in. Look out for of the voting. We'll be getting that sorted. But yeah, just well done. Aiden's done the quarter by quarter. But look, you can't get... This is the player I really like to share. Absolute dominated overall. Goodness, my goodness. May not hit a lot of disposals. 5 tackles, 2 marks. This fella's named Jordan Sweet. Well done. 43 hit outs. Absolute dominated for Port Adelaide. So this is the kind of young ruckman comes into the team and dominates against a no-purpose captain from Richmond. Fortunately was subbed out, was 23 hit outs, but was 91 cold. Getting out of Adelaide, was getting back to Melbourne as well. On raising as well. So let's go on the plane right now. Well done to Port Adelaide, one step away. Richmond as we go to Geelong. Dominating well okay in the second half of the year. So well done once again to the Port Adelaide Footy Club, Richmond Footy Club. Heads up, play well next week. We're back in Melbourne. Let's jump on to the train if we can get on. Lol. Now we're travelling down from Melbourne. Now we're here to go to Geelong. We're going on the train right now. We have now arrived safely in Geelong. Man, it's cold. Anyway, we have arrived at GMHBA Stadium in Geelong. We got the mighty Satsy Geelong Cats hosting the mighty Western Bulldogs, as known as Footscray Bulldogs. So, myself, it's known as BJ, will share those thoughts. Let's go and take it away. Well, let's go on the way for this game. Wow. Geelong Setsy. Not Setsy. Damn it, Geelong. How can I record this team, Geelong? Not very good this season. I think down at home there have been some massive upsets. Some big wins, but wins they need to win. They're in the top 4. Back in that top 8. They cannot slip these games. And we'll share just briefly, just quarter by quarter, Bulldogs, Western Bulldogs, Footscray Bulldogs came out 2-0. This was not Geelong I have seen, the Setsy Geelong Cats. Then we come to the second quarter, where Western Bulldogs, Footscray, my goodness, 2-7 to 2-1, and they still won the quarter, Bulldogs. Second half, 5-4. We love lots of goals, but more points went to the Bulldogs. They kicked themselves out of the game, but it was not enough for Geelong. Once again, they did in the second quarter and the opening quarter. 0, but only 2 behind. Footscray Bulldogs, 5 goals, 2. That was a much better quarter. Well done your performance. Bad luck, Geelong. Not Setsy, unfortunately. This was a game for Geelong. They are slipping away. Footscray Bulldogs are back in town. This was the game they wanted to win, and they did it. It was not an easy trip. You go to Adelaide, you go to Perth, you go down to Geelong, boom, gotta be best game, and you did it. Well, with Geelong, heads up. Play well next week. My best player. Now, there was a few going to be interested. Adam Tour, well done. 149 for Anthony with the 3 goals, 31 disposals, 19 kicks, 12 handballs. Was it 8 tackles, 6 marks. So that's my thoughts from the best player from the mighty Geelong Cats and Footscray Bulldogs.
Aiden, time for your thoughts for Game 6 Geelong versus Western Bulldogs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what happened here. I thought Geelong were pretty safe in this one. Down at Cardinia Park, their home, their fortress. It actually looks like a fortress now as well. They put it in the newsstand. It got out of hand very quickly for them, and this is one of the Dogs have grabbed to keep their finals chances alive and put themselves into the 8 for the next couple of weeks. This is football at its finest, where you don't know what's going on, you don't know who's going to win, and the games, while not always close, are surprising and shocking. The best player for me, I think, has to be the Doggies standout ruckman Tim English. Just another 41 hit-out game for him. Only had 17 touches of the ball with 9 kicks, 8 handballs, 5 marks, 4 tackles, and 116 fantasy. But 41 hit-outs, that is Tim English doing as Tim English does, and he is a key cog in the Doggies machine. So they will keep going. Geelong, I'm starting to get a little bit worried about. I'm thinking that age is creeping up with them again. I talked about it earlier in the year. Then they got it good, and now it's creeping up with them again, because old bodies don't last 20 weeks. And these young teams that are coming through, even teams sitting outside the 8, like your Gold Coast, are going to run over them in the next couple of years. So they're going to have to do some major list moves to be where they want to be. And I know Geelong, they say, we can do anything as long as we get in the top 8. But Geelong's not a top 8 side. Geelong is a top 4 side. Geelong is a team that are out there to win every week and want premierships every year. That is their DNA. I have not met a football club like that, apart from Collingwood and Sydney and West Coast, who are like that. The Doggies, however, know that rebuilding has got to be a thing, and they've tried to get around it. Somehow they have got around it. They've removed some players around. Rory Lobb is playing good football again. Who believed that Rory Lobb was playing good football again this year? That guy should have been out of the league, but now he's back. He is genuinely a good player now. He might not be a forward anymore. I think he's playing defence now. So they just keep moving guys around. And Luke Beveridge is an elite coach when it comes to moving guys around. He did that, winning a premiership in 2016. And I really look forward to seeing more of this from the Doggies.
We're heading back onto the train from Geelong. Oh, disappointing for those mighty sexy Geelong Cats. The Bulldogs, Western Bulldogs, Footscray Bulldogs. Well done on the win. Let's get back on the train to head to Melbourne. it's time to head onto the plane from Melbourne to Brisbane as we head to the Gabba. As we got the mighty, this makes the game of the round. We got the Lions and the mighty Sydney Swans, known as formerly as South Melbourne. Let's go on the plane right now.
BJ, time for your thoughts for Game 7 Brisbane versus Sydney.
Wow, this is actually game of the round. Brisbane tick off, Sydney worried. Let's get quarter by quarter. So you'll notice when you listen to this, Aiden will go first. He'll do quarter, and I'll do quarter by quarter as well. So look, this was a game that Sydney did start slow, but Brisbane came out 5-1. Beautiful. Then it went reversible, but it was 2 goals more. It was Sydney's time to show up. They kicked 6-1 half time. It was a few points in it. Who can do it? Let's find out. It was once again Sydney led the way. It was 2-1. Now this was going to be an interesting contest. It was Brisbane wanted more, and Chris Fagan from Brisbane has magic in his talent of coaching in his career, and they did it. 4 goals to Sydney, 2 goals. Kick off for Brisbane, 2-point winners, and they were down at half time, and I think Sydney had more chances of winning this game. They kicked 4 goals overall from half time to 5 goals, so it was pretty even overall. Well done to Brisbane on the W, a big win at home. You got to win these games at home and do it well. Dane Zinko, well done on your performance. 131 for Anthony, 29 disposals with the 27 kicks, 2 handballs, so more kicks than handballs, so that's what you want. 12 marks, well done. That's a tick off with those 3 tackles, so a bit of balance. So well done on a big win at home to the mighty Brisbane Lions. Well, Sydney Swans, known as formerly South Melbourne, heads up. Season's not over, but you can't start being worried because Brisbane are back to start moving up that top 2. So they are looking very worried.
Aiden, time for your thoughts for Game 7 Brisbane versus Sydney.
Yeah, Sydney again, just another loss. The sneaky Swans are no longer premiers-elect in my book. They are trying their best to throw away a minor premiership, and it's horrible to watch. It really is, but at the same time, it's pretty funny because you had it locked up 5 weeks ago, and you've just let the field come back to you. The Brisbane Lions just keep answering the questions. Every time someone steps up to them, they find the answer. Chris Fagan needs to win a premiership before he leaves Brisbane. He needs to cap off his coaching journey with the premiership, and maybe it could be this year. It wasn't last year, probably should have been last year, should be this year. Brisbane have a lot of young talent, and I mean, they've got a lot of talent across the board. Cam Rayner's suddenly come to form again. Will Ashcroft's come back. Yeah, their whole list is full of talent. Neil is another good one. The Big O, who I'll get to in a minute. Forwards are always dangerous, whether it's Charlie or Danaher or Hipwood. Someone's going to get you, and if they don't, someone else will. But as I said, I'll get to the Big O. He is my player of the game. 27 hitouts, 22 touches, 11 kicks, 11 handballs, 5 marks and 3 tackles for 105 fantasy for the Big O.
A long travel from Brisbane to Perth, so we're going to view Melbourne. So let's go on the plane back to Melbourne. Now we have arrived in Melbourne. Let's get onto the plane from, Melbourne to Perth. It's been a long, tired trip. Now, let's get to Otterstone for the Dockers up against the mighty Melbourne Demons. Aiden, I'll let you share your thoughts of the mighty Dockers and those hot poor demons. That's the Melbourne Demons.
Aiden, time for your thoughts for Game 8 Fremantle versus Melbourne.
The deadly Dockers are at it again this week against the Melbourne Demons, and they came out hot to start. 3 goals, 5 to 2 points in the first quarter. In the second, they had another 4 goals. Melbourne finally got a major on the board with 3. Fremantle decent lead at half time, and then they let it run. 4-3 in the third term in favour of Fremantle, and then 6-4 in the final, again in favour of Fremantle, as they run out 50-point winners, 116-66 over Melbourne. Fremantle had this game from start to finish. Melbourne had some big outs. Petrarca out for the rest of the year. Gawn was out of this week's game. I think he may have made a bit of a difference, but I don't see Gawn making up a 50-point difference, even though he's quite good. Melbourne... I've always said it, you're getting further and further away from another premiership, and it looks like you're not going to make it into the top 8 at this point. And I'm sorry, but I made that call, I stick by it, and it's looking pretty good right now. My player of the game, there can only be one. It's Andy Brayshaw, with 41 touches, with 17 kicks, 24 handballs, 3 marks, 3 tackles, and 120 fantasy points.
BJ, time for your thoughts for Game 8 Fremantle versus Melbourne.
Well, that's the answer for Melbourne, but we'll get to them. Look, well done to Fremantle. Aiden laughing in the back.
Good job on Melbourne. They threw this one in the bin. They've thrown their season in the bin.
Anyway, well done to Fremantle. Accuracy is well okay. Well done. In front, at home, you're good. You're back. You're in the top 3. Top 4 even. Don't lose the opportunity. You get out of that, you're in trouble. You want to get that second chance. You want to host games, make to the granny, and win that premiership. I'd love to see it. It's been too long. Almost 20 years, or roughly of that, if I've got my corrections, that Fremantle has been in the AFL and never made and won an actual premiership, but they did make a grand final. Unfortunately, made the grand final, not completing that as a W. It's an effort. They made it. And, there was a lot going on through that week when Matthew Pavlich used to play back then. So, in his later days, with Melbourne, look, it's Aiden said, slipping away. It is not a nice way to word it. Yes, you got injuries. You got your stars out. One thing about it is Melbourne are not near playing finals. This is the rebuild, and you got to be smart with rebuilding. Don't slip the rebuilding 20 years later to make a grand final or final. You can't, like I said, Matt Scorn playing. One player doesn't win a game of football. A team of 18 wins a game of football. So that's making into my best on ground. So look, there's a few, and I love when Michael Waters kicked 4 goals, 83 fans. We're now heading from Perth to Melbourne. As we're now getting back on the plane as we speak. That's going to be impressive, including those 16 disposals, 8 kicks, 8 make it work. So well done, Fremantle. Those mighty Doggers are all the way with the W. Melbourne heads up, play well next. Now we're right back in Melbourne where Marble's staying for the mighty Blues and the Moos, as known as Carlton versus North Melbourne.
BJ, time for your thoughts for Game 9 Carlton versus North Melbourne.
Well, now, guess what? Last game, round 19. Wow, we have 4 games. Well, actually, equals to 4 games? Wow, no. We got 5 games. Well, let's get into quarter by quarter as we continue on to it. So, yep, 7 goals for the quarter total overall. Good. Well done, North Melbourne, staying in that contest. It was a 4-3 in front of the mighty Blues. 3 goals to the Blues and North Melbourne. 6 goals. It wasn't 6 goals 5, not 6 goals 10. It was 6 goals straight. Accuracy at marble. That's what you see your game of football. It was Carlton's turn to shine the spirit into 7 goals 5, which is pretty good. 47 points to 3 goals 119. So it was really good. But it was basically same as the first goal for North Melbourne in the first quarter, and we come to 2 goals RP, favour of the Blues winning the quarter. So well done of North Melbourne. Bad luck to North Melbourne. Well done, Carlton, with that. That beat you. Well, guess what, North Melbourne, well done. You were much better last week than to this week. Carlton, lucky to get a W. Yes, you got injuries. You're very concerning. But this was the game. This is the win you needed. North Melbourne are coming, and they look dangerous. They never gave up. They only lost by 19 points. and decent high scoring. So we're getting to my best on ground. Like, there's so many players, even for North Melbourne, have more fantasy, maybe even more disposals. So I'm going to put it, and it's really not great in the fantasy world, but Sam Walsh, with the 7 marks, 1 tackle, not very much in that, but 25 disposals with the 15 kicks, 10 handballs, with the 90 fantasy. So, well done, Carlton with the W, with the win. And North Melbourne heads up, play well next week.
Aiden, time for your thoughts for Game 9 Carlton versus North Melbourne.
This was something unexpected. North Melbourne put up a really good fight, and they really should go away thinking that they've done a great effort for themselves. And they have. I mean, to come within, you were leading at half time, and then you just fell off a little bit in the second half against Carlton. Against this Carlton team, who are so strong and so dangerous and definitely in a chance to win a premiership this year. North still just a little bit behind, but you see the potential there. It is coming for them, and when they start going, they are going to be an absolute danger. A lot of young talent down at North Melbourne at the moment, looking to come through and impact at AFL level. The Blues, as I said, are already at that level, and they should really be taking themselves seriously and saying this could be the year the Blues win a premiership. My best on ground goes to Charlie Curnow. 4 goals, 2, 15 touches, 10 kicks, 5 handballs, 9 marks, 1 tackle, and 101 fantasy.
We come to the half-time point of the BJ Show Sports Chat. When we come back, we completed now round 19. Now, see you soon. Don't go anywhere. I know it's a bit cheeky, as normally, like, what? Get your cup of tea, your drink of any time. You get your bickies, get your snacks. See you soon. There's more to come. See you soon. Welcome back to the Sports Chat BJ Show. I hope you're all enjoying it. Getting your cup of tea, your drink, wherever your snacks, your donut. Oh yeah, yummy. So let's get underway as we now go to Marble Stadium on a Friday night in Melbourne. Bit chilly, good crowd. We got the mighty Blues up and hosting the Power.
BJ, time for your thoughts for Game 1 Carlton versus Port Adelaide.
Wow, this is a mother shock. Yes, let's just say, shock in a big way. Well done to Port. Yes, got the W from Carlton. You can't slip your chances. You're slipping now, and that's going to get very concerned. And breaking down, yes, you got injuries, but you can't slip those injuries. Expect that player to dominate really well. We'll go by quarter. As always, Port started well, 2 goals. The Carlton just the 1 goal. Poor, not accuracy, but that's okay. But they got a little bit better. A massive response. They lead the way at half time, but it wasn't really great of leading by 25 points. It's equals to 8 goals. So they 7 goals. 7 goals to 2 in the second quarter. They lead by 25 points. That makes more sense. Second half, they did it again, but less scoring. They get 1 goal, 2 for the third quarter. That's 8 points. But Port get 3 goals, 5. So more chances of Port's going to have a chance to win, and they did. Carlton 3 behind. Wow. A top 4 side cannot let that happen. And Port to slip away with a nice genuine victory with a 4 goals, 1, 25 points, winning by just a nice handy victory, winning by 14 points. So knowing that Port needed this win, they gained some wins, they gained some momentum, and this was the game was tested from Port. Moving on to Carlton. Look, not an easy win against North Melbourne, but you got the job done. But you're starting well, you lead by 25 points, and you slip yourself and lose by 14. You cannot let these teams happen to you. You don't have a best player on there. Get that net player and let that player dominate really well in the AFL team. We'll just do the best player. Now, there wasn't a lot of celebration for, winning team like Port Adelaide. Ollie Ryan's 108 fantasy, 25 disposals, 10 kicks, 15 handballs, a 10 tackle performance, and as well 2 marks. So well done to Port with a 14-point victory. Carlton, heads up, play well next week.
Aiden, time for your thoughts for Game 1 Carlton versus Port Adelaide.
I don't really know what to make of this game because, see, you've got on one hand you've got Carlton. You have the Blues, who should really be taking control of their own destiny at this point and are letting it slip. I mean, they had a big lead against Port and they let it slip. And then on the other hand, you got Port, who are always up for a fight and always up for a challenge. And Port stood up when it mattered and got the big win to push them into the 8 and keep their finals chances in their own hand. So Carlton, a little bit of danger slipping out of the top 4 now. Port Adelaide slowly sneaking back into the 8. My best player would have to be Port's game breaker, Jason Horne-Francis. So we have for Horne-Francis 23 touches, 18 kicks, 5 handballs, 5 marks, 6 tackles, only 99 fantasy, but we know how dangerous he is on the ball. And that is what makes him one of the best players to emerge from the last couple of years of drafts, and a great get for Port Adelaide when he left North Melbourne.
Now it's time to head on to the plane. A nice travel. We're heading from Melbourne to going down to Tasmania, a little bit more Stone Arena, whereas in Hobart. So let's go to the North Melbourne hosting the sexy the Long Cats.
BJ, time for your thoughts for Game 2 North Melbourne versus Geelong. We have made it to Tasmania for North Melbourne versus Geelong.
North and Geelong played out a pretty even first quarter in this one. 3 goals apiece. Geelong just ahead by 3 points. Second quarter, Geelong just took control of the game. They kicked another 3, North only 1. Third quarter, Geelong put up 5 and North only 3. Fourth quarter, Geelong put up another 5 and North put up 3. So that was, quite a well-dispersed scoring from both sides. Geelong 3 in each quarter in the first half and then 5 in each quarter in the second half. And North had 3 3-goal quarters, so that's impressive and easy to count. I think North have let themselves down a bit on this one considering their effort against Carlton last week. I just don't know where the consistency is. You go, even in Tasmania, you're dangerous there. We know how good you are there, and you're not really ever in the contest after quarter time. As for the Cats, business is business. They come out, they do their job, they get the win. Not much to be said there. I will go to my player of the game, and I am going to go with Tom Stewart, who had 32 touches on 26 kicks, 6 handballs, 9 marks, 1 tackle and 122 fantasy.
Aiden, time for your thoughts for Game 2 North Melbourne versus West Coast.
Yep, went over. Geelong, business as usual. Kick off, big winners, 40 points, take anything. But it was pretty accuracy for both teams. 26 scoring shots to 16, so 10. Look, it was a 10 scoring shots, a difference favour of Geelong. North Melbourne, they slipped away, but then, they're king accuracy, and that's what's been the big thing. But look, what can I say? They were in the contest all game North Melbourne. They never ever let Geelong score 10 goals in a quarter. I really did not do that, but it was the final quarter did that. So it's a 5 goals to 3. So lots of high scoring goals. We all love high scoring football, but this one, unfortunately, was not only one way. Look, North Melbourne's best performance to their right.
Tristan Xerri.
He dominated. I'm going to give it to him. Why in the losing team, I will not know, but he dominated. 156 fantasy. Losing by 40, that's just incredible. It was 54 hit-outs, 1 point, 25 disposals, 13 kicks, 12 handballs, 5 marks, 8 tackles for a big fella. And I got to say, that's an effort. 8 tackles for a ruckman. You don't see very often in the modern football, and he knows 5 marks, but, scoring involvement is huge, and he dominated, and I would like to give, well done to the credit of that North Melbourne ruckman, but well done Geelong with the W. North Melbourne heads up, play well next week. Heading back on the plane from Hobart, and we're now going back onto the plane to Melbourne. Now, let's get on to the plane as we got the Q Clash and we got the Suns and the Lions, and we're heading to the Gold Coast as we got the people first staying. So let's go on the plane and let's get the share of these thoughts. now arrive on the Gold Coast in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. We've got the Suns and the Lions. Let's get BJ to take it away, please. We now made it to the GQ clash for the Suns and are up against the Brisbane improved, very beautiful Brisbane Lions right now. We're at People's First Stadium. Well, let's get quarter. 3 goals to 2. Poor start to Gold Coast. 6 behind. It was a response to 3 goals to 5. These two teams are having their own version of rivalry. Right in their face. Let's get into the second half as I share the quarter. So 2 goals apiece. These two rivals love it, and it comes to the last quarter. But it was 2 goals to the mighty Gold Coast Suns, and Brisbane too good. They went over the line and they win nicely with the winning by 28 points in the clash. So, Gold Coast needed the lows. They can't lose in front of their Suns supporters. This is the Suns' home deck to win football, and they've only known that they can't lose by 50 points, but losing by 28 points is quite a bit in a cute clash. Let's get now my best player. Now there was quite a few, and it's so many to choose, even from either team. Gonna have to put it under Josh Dunkley. Put it even with the 31 disposals, 20 kicks, 11 handballs, 7 marks, 5 tackles, 128 dancer. T with a goal in the behind. So well done once again. 28-point winners for the Brisbane Lions. Gold Coast Suns heads up. They will next week.
This has been coming for a while. It really has. Gold Coast could not keep this perfect home record up, and they finally slipped. And against the biggest of the biggest rivals that they have, their Queensland locals, the Brisbane Lions. Brisbane, as I say, you just put another question in front of them, they pass the test. Put another question in front of them, they pass the test. There is no test that this Brisbane team will not pass unless something goes horribly wrong, and they are a genuine contender at this point. Gold Coast are going to have to pick up a few wins on the road now to really keep their finals hopes intact. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. I think they've got some easy games towards the end of the year, but still, nothing's easy in the AFL this year. Even a team like a Richmond or a West Coast can show up on any given day. For best player, I'm going to have to go with the best player in the AFL. The self-proclaimed best player in the AFL, Lachie Neale. 1 goal, 35 touches, 16 kicks, 19 handballs, 7 marks, 4 tackles, 129 fantasy.
Travelling back from the key clash with the Brisbane Lions winning over the Suns. Now head back to Melbourne as we're now travelling to Marble Stone for the Saints up against the Bombers.
Big game, big win for St Kilda. They came out of the blocks really hot. 5 goals, 1 in the first term. Essendon only able to get 2 goals, 3. Second quarter, St Kilda had 2 goals. Essendon had 3 goals. But St Kilda still in control of the game. Essendon just trying to keep it close. Coming out of the big break, St Kilda let it all out, kicking 7 goals to Essendon's 1. And in the final quarter, St Kilda kicked 3 goals to Essendon's 2. So same as last week for St Kilda. Just keep getting these wins at this point. You're not playing finals this year, but you're going to set yourself up for next year. And as for Essendon, what's happened? You used to be cool. You're not cool anymore. You're out of the 8. You're probably not going to play in September. You're probably not going to actually show up in August either, but we won't worry about that. You're done. There's nothing more that can be said for Essendon. For my best player of the game, I am going to be giving that honour to Xavier Dersma from Essendon. Interesting that I'm calling from a losing team, but I think that first half that he had was quite good, and then they just fell away in the second half. And when you've got 114 fantasy, 1 goal, 25 touches, 19 kicks, 6 handballs, 9 marks, and 3 tackles, you can't really blame yourself. You've got to, own up to yourself, which he's done. And if his teammates have held him down, then that's on them. Well done to him for putting in a good display, and probably one of the real only shining lights with the Bombers on that Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, big W for the Saints. They're not marching into the finals, but they were marching against a mother. Anyone can beat Essendon right now. I just got to say, winning by 53 points, Essendon's percentage is slipped out very shockingly. And in the first time ever, from second place, you've not slipped under 80%, 90% per se. Well, if they can come back, yeah, okay. But, the Saints are going to come in, they're going to rebuild, they're going to get ready for the season 2025 for the Essendon Bombers. They are slipping away. They are really the worst percentage, even near that top 8, even not. They're 10th on the ladder. And I've got to say, wow factor is indeed, they need big wins to make 100%. Because out of between where, say, St Kilda is, or even Adelaide, from Adelaide up to Melbourne, Essendon is about under 6% a difference between the Mighty Demons and the Bombers, and 2 points on top. So you can say that for a fact, Essendon just winning games like that in the first half of the season. But look, it is what it is. You gotta keep bouncing back next week. Saints, well done on the 53-point victory. Essendon, heads up, keep playing well next week. Alright, we're staying in Melbourne. We're not going on the plane. We're gonna big and run. We can skip. We can just walk like we're going. Come on, your supporters of the Demons and the Giants. That's where we are at the MCG game of the round. Let's get to those thoughts. We've made it to the another game of the round and most late game of the round. We're seeing the Lions are at the gate against the Swans. Now it's these two. Melbourne just came out of the woods, losing by on the road against the Fremantle Doctors in Perth. Now they're going to host the Giants. Giants were lucky to win this. Quarter by quarter, Melbourne fired up 5 goals, 10 scoring shots, 1 goal to the Giants. That's a 3 scoring involvement with a 5-goal quarter. But it was 5 goals too, so you got to give credit to Melbourne King. 5 goals, 5 in the first quarter. They get 1 goal, 2. So you can see it was very even at the halftime point. It was a 3-point lead to the Mighty Demons. 2 goals, 2 to 3 goals, 2. 20 points to 14, 6 points advantage to the Giants to leave. No, it was very close. Anyone can win it. But who wanted more? Who wanted more? Lots of goals in this final. 9 goals. 9 goals. 9 goals free. 57 points total at the MCG. It was the Giants holding on. And I'm not known, I did not watch this game, but clearly a victory to the Giants. So, player by player, as I'm going to share my thoughts. There's so many Giants players, and I gotta say, very disappointing with Melbourne. Very, very poor in a way. They don't have anyone in the 30s in a 2-point loss. There's so many I can give, and it's going to be, and I don't want to be a big fancy person, but Toby Green from the Giants, the number 4 from the Giants. 16 disposals, 14 kicks, 2 handballs, 6 marks with the 4 tackles, but 3 goals. 103 fantasy. So he dominated. Big win. This is what the Giants needed to get themselves back into the finals. They even secured a top 8 spot. They could be playing double chance here. This is the first time in a long time. I would feel confident that Carlton even slipped out. Geelong slipped up. More percent goes favour to Carlton, but if Giants can actually win big and Carlton just look out. They are coming and could be scary. So well done on the Mighty Giants with the victory. Melbourne, heads up, play well next week.
GWS walk into Melbourne, walk into a game where it had implications for both sides. Slow start for them, but it is the tortoise and the hare here. Melbourne came out of the blocks blazing, and then they took a nap. And then GWS slowly built their foundation, slowly built their way into the game, and got the win in the end. So big work to the Giants. This is starting to look like another good year for GWS. As I said, people were worried about them, sort of towards the middle of the year, and I'm like, well, they've had all their injuries now. All their luck's going to gone against them in the mid-year. Come the back of the year, the Orange Tsunami's hitting, and it's hitting hard. It did again here this week against Melbourne. Melbourne, I just don't know what's happened. It's become one thing after another for Melbourne, and it's injuries, it's bad luck, it's something, but eventually things have got to change, and eventually you've got to change them. And Melbourne are just sort of hanging around at the moment. They're just sitting in the pack, hoping for a moment to strike. That moment's not going to let itself come to you. You've got to go and get it. So I don't know if you're even going to be in the 8 at this point, Melbourne. For my best player, I'm going to give it to Kieran Briggs of GWS, out-rucking Max Gawn. He had 17 touches on 8 kicks, 9 handballs, 3 marks, 4 tackles and 36 here, 1 behind and 99 fantasy.
Now it's time to head from Melbourne to Perth. We got Aiden will share what this game means, but we are just heading to Perth. Let's now get to this amazing clash. It's a mother vital. Let's get on to it. Aiden, take it away.
Time for another Western Derby between the Dockers and the Eagles. We'll go quarter by quarter in this one. Eagles started very well, kicking 5 in the first. Fremantle only 3 goals. Second quarter, West Coast added 4. Fremantle added 4. West Coast went into half-time looking solidly with the lead. Second half happened and Fremantle rocked up. Fremantle adding 5 in the third quarter. West Coast 1 point. And in the final term, Fremantle added another 5 goals. 5 straight for the Dockers in that final term to West Coast's 2 goals for. Fremantle running out 110-75 winners in the Western Derby. The Dockers are dangerous, the Dockers are deadly, and the Dockers are the real deal in season 2024. They don't need to worry about too much. They just need to hang on to that top 4 spot at this stage. Hopefully they can get into the top 2 and get a home double chance final, but we'll see what happens. As for West Coast, I really thought they'd do better after half time. Just lost the plot, just went away, and Fremantle came out and took over the game at half time as top teams should be doing. My fantasy vote, my top player vote this week will again go to Andy Brayshaw with 115 fantasy, 1 goal, 36 touches, 16 kicks, 20 handballs, 2 marks and 7 tackles.
Yep, that was the word. Western Derby. Western Derby. Now, I gotta say between these two rivals that always get a good hit, a little nudge and they're ready to go. I don't see the magic what they used to do in the 90s, boy. Anyway, moving on. Well done to Fremantle. W, you look stronger than West Coast, but West Coast did start well. They're finding ways to stay in the contest. They're not losing by 50, 60 points in a rideable game. You know, the Q class, Brisbane winning by 28, 38 points win to the Dockers. So, and now hosting it big time. So, yep. Well, gotta say, West Coast, bad luck. You know, you start well, then you slip away in that second half. Fremantle just took away. Want it more, and it was Fremantle want it more. Well, I'm just gonna share my best player now. There's a few. You know, Hayden Young from the Fremantle Dockers. They're not high scoring 90. 91 fantasy is not high, but reasonable, okay? You know, it's got that 20 disposals, 8 kicks, 12 handballs, 12 tackles. Now, he is 20% from the defence, but 12 tackles. That is just incredible for an individual with 20 disposals, 91 defence. So, that was a pretty good decision to play domination into the Fremantle team. But bad luck with West Coast. Just keep heads up. Keep trying every week. You're not long till the off-season begins. So, heads up, West Coast, Fremantle. Well done. W, tick off. We're heading now back on the plane from the Perth of Western Australia from Optus Stadium. We're now heading. I'm back on the plane as I mentioned before. We're back on Melbourne service. We're travelling to the MCG for Sunday afternoon, the first of 3. We got a Sydney tickets for you. We got Collingwood's. Well, $3.99 game, Scott Penderbury will take on the Tigers. As though we're going to that game right now. We've made the MCG, as I mentioned before. As I mentioned, there was a 399 gamer, Scott Penderbury. But anyway, moving forward, quarter by quarter, as we need to get it, as we've got 2 games remaining, as well, including 18 for 6 goals to 2, 4 goals straight. Beautiful start to Collingwood, as the 20s should respond. Then they take 3 goals to 3. So pretty even. No difference at all, but 1 point apart to make it is a 25 high. Half time, as I mentioned, 25. Third quarter, we had a 5 goals to 1. That was it. That was the game for the Tigers. They looked down, but 3 goals, and 1 goal. So Richmond won that quarter. That was the quarter which we really need to get better, but unfortunately, once again, 26 points. So they're not losing by a lot. They're not losing by 6-7 goals, only losing by 4 goals. So it's not bad in the way of responding. So this was the game for Collingwood getting the W, which Richmond Baylor play well next week. We'll get straight into it. But now there's so many players I gotta pull, and sometimes you don't have to be the best one to get all the disposals. So I'm gonna have to call it this Nick Dacos. Now, what a domination with 128 fan city, 42 disposals. It's a 50% almost overall, with 20 hits, 22 handballs, 6 marks, 2 tackles on a great big format. So once again, one on Collingwood's the W. Richmond heads up, play well next week.
Another good win for the Pies. Business as usual for them. Just keep going. This was a game they had to win to keep their top 8 chances in the mix, and they've done that. They've knocked off Richmond, who are, I believe they're still last, below North. So Collingwood go into next week. Big game for them next week. Scott Penderbury's 400th. Richmond, not a lot of positives to take out of this season as we come down to the final month. Just enjoy yourselves. Enjoy your time out there playing footy. I know you're not winning games. This is what happens when you've come off that premiership run. And Ben, I think I'm going to have to agree with you for best player. I think it's Nick Dacos by a mile. Absolute domination. No one could touch him. 42 touches of the footy. Got everyone involved. And then this is the thing I like about Nick Dacos, is he knows when to take it himself and he knows when to set up somebody else. And that is the mark of a true elite player.
It's time to head back on the plane. We're now going back from Melbourne. Now we're going to travel to Sydney. So let's get to the SCG, as that's where we are. We got the Swans hosting Bulldogs.
This was an absolute Bulldog blitz. Swannies totally out of the game. Uncharacteristic for a team who are leading the premiership table. Swannies 1 point in the first quarter, the Doggies 5 goals 5. In the second quarter, Swannies did get 2 goals. Doggies also with 2 goals. But Doggies took this game over, and this game was pretty much dead before it even started. Sydney try and come back into the game. They had 2 goals in the third. Doggies adding 3. And then Sydney just got a little bit back in the final quarter, adding 3 goals to 2 for the Doggies. Premiers-elect are out the window. The race for the minor premiership is back on, and Sydney have only themselves to blame for this. As for the Doggies, big wins. Last week against the Cats down at Cardinia Park. This week against the Swannies down in the SCG. They are taking big road wins and putting themselves in contention for a top 8 spot. And I like to see the Doggies make the finals. They are a good team when it comes to September footy. My best player for the game. My best player for the game would have to be Jamara Ugle-Hagan with 4 goals. 13 touches for him, 10 kicks, 3 handballs, 4 marks, 4 tackles, 83 fantasy. But as I said, that 4 goals really set up the Doggies.
Yep, W for the Bulldogs. Western Bulldogs, Footscray Bulldogs, you cool. So, yeah, it was a win. It's not an easy road trip to go from Geelong, come home, now go to Sydney, to take on the top place. And they're back. Sydney, a Mullen short, and this was a shock one to my thoughts. Why is that? They didn't start well. Can't walk in the park and get the W. You got injuries. Find a way, get that next player dominating well in the reserves. Get that player in. They'll do well. Get around that player. From, it could be a Debua. Dominating. You can get 15 disposals on the sub, Debua, dominating. Kick your first goal. And that happened on the weekend, we'll share very soon. Gotta say, a win is a win. Where you are, it's gonna be interesting for Sydney coming into August/September finals time. It's got a month of football in Brisbane right now on their neck. So we come to now into the best players. and it's Matt Roberts. Now, why do I choose Matt Roberts? Domination well in a losing team, 138 fantasy, 1 goal, 36 disposals, 26 kicks and handballs, 8 marks, 3 tackles. This sets up a domination for play. You don't have to be Isaac ranking. Brody Grundy dominated, Footy. Now again, back on the plane. Let's go from Sydney to Adelaide as we go to the Adelaide Oval. Knowing that this man can dominate. But well done on the Bulldogs, Footscray Bulldogs, Western Bulldogs, Sydney Swans, South Geelong, Bama, heads up, play well next week. Big crowd house at the Adelaide Oval. We could have had 35 to 40,000 to see the Adelaide Crows in action from winning by a couple points against the Bombers. Well, that's W high score and move on next week, and you prove on against the improved Hawthorn Hawks. Before we get quarter by quarter, Adelaide came out 6 behinds. That's it. That was that quarter time. 5 goals, 6, 5 straight. Hawthorn came out 4 goals to 1. Now, this was it. Adelaide had to shut up in that third quarter. It was all over. And it was all Hawthorn dominating. Was 5 goals, 5 to 2 behinds. And it was, Adelaide hit 2 goals to 6. 6 goals, 2 goals, 2. I've got to say right now, before we get into Hawthorn, because I got more credit for Hawthorn, unfortunately, non-Hawthorn supporter, but wow, the fact that it was poor, skillful performance at home, and sleep. You can't go at home and lose by 11 goals. Now, I gotta say, yes, we started well, we're in the game. You can't win 1 quarter football. It's 4 quarters. Simple as that. This is AFL. This is not junior football. You can't just show that Hawthorn came out. They were on. We know how good we play against the Bombers. They studied, knowing that we will slow our defence. Hawthorn built that wall and they knew exactly. Kicked off for Hawthorn. Big win on the road to Adelaide. They're coming. They're coming for September. Boy, if they can, I mentioned this before, if they don't make finals this year, they're back in September next year. Now, it's been a long time seeing Hawthorn doing it. They've done it about 6 years ago, even a bit more, not making finals. And boy, this is a very different Hawthorn outfit. Sam Mitchell has homeworked the Adelaide Oval and win by 66 points to losing by 1 point. So, Adelaide, you got to bounce back. Keep trying against those mighty sexy Geelong Cats down at Kilda Park down at Geelong. With the Hawks, well done, well heads up, play well next week.
I really don't know what to say about this. Crows, I thought they were doing really good the last couple of weeks, but then they go and throw it all in the bin just because they have a few guys out. We can't play football. Hawthorn coming to town, we're going to win you again. We've won 9 out of our last 11. We'll take you down too, just like we did earlier in the year in Melbourne. And we do. Why? Because we're better than you, and the whole league knows it. Hawthorn are on a rampage at this point. They are flying to the finish, trying to get in the 8. They should be there. If results go their way, they will be there. September, look out. Hawthorn, get in. It's going to be carnage. Don't get in. Next year's going to be carnage. This is a dangerous Hawthorn. This Hawthorn is probably better than Clarkson's Hawthorns. I am calling it right now. This Hawthorn team is absolute carnage. It is chaos ball, and they love it. For the best player, I'm going to go with Jarman Impey. He only had 20 touches, 1 goal, 14 kicks, 6 handballs, 8 marks and 1 tackle, but it's the way he used the football. He got players involved. He got the ball moving to the right players at the right time. And when it was his turn to make a move, he made a move. Now the Crows should be learning from this, because this is what they need to do when you play against a team that's going to contend for September. Last year, the Crows were an umpire's mistake out of September. And then they come up with this. I don't know what is going on at Westlakes anymore, and hopefully when they move to Theberton, it'll all be better, but I don't think it's going to be. Because if we're at Theberton and not at Westlakes, and they're not the Crows anymore. I don't know what to say about them anymore, because one week they do so well, and then the next week, they don't do anything. But, Hawthorn, credit where credit's due. Great team Hawthorn right now. You've got to just put up results every week, without worrying about who's in, who's out, who's available, who's not available. Football will move without you. You don't have to if you do something, that's your choice, but The AFL ladder, the other 17 teams, will do their thing without you if you're not coming to the party. They don't care. And the Crows are learning this lesson the hard way this week.
Well, there was some up and downs, there was some upsets, there was some poor performance. But anyway, thank you so much everyone who has supported the BJ Show, as known as Sport Chat. So, it's the BJ Show on your Spotify. Get on, support it. You know you love hearing sports, as known as AFL. It's the main subject at this time in Australian land of order. So, once again, thank you for listening. Aiden, thank you so much. I all enjoy your mighty snacks and your thoughts of the last two rounds, round 19 and 20. If I got that correct, I did. Yes, I got that correct.
It's always a pleasure to be on, Ben.
No worries. Thank you so much. See you next time. Thank you, everyone. Ciao for now. BJ Show Sports Chat is signing out. Peace.